Britain in the 18th century. What a ripe environment it was for spurring the development of industry. An agricultural revolution had swept the land, with crops such as potatoes, maize, turnips, legumes, and clover. With their high yield and good taste, landless tenants were fuller than ever and populations were on the rise. And trade was on the rise with Britain's geography ideal for waterway transportation and a unified internal market. All those bright young men that turned out new inventions and concepts to fuel the growing demand for products like good strong iron and China and cotton helped the Industrial Revolution as well. Britain seemed to be a nation on the up and up, especially now that it had passed the whole absolute monarch phase and social lines were starting to blur. But not all was picture perfect. The lives of the very ordinary people were often the toughest of them all.
Is it true? Have we lost our land and be forced to become vagabonds?
I'm afraid so, my dear. Most of the rich landowners enacted something called the Enclosure Movement, getting all of their land into a title. We're out of work.
Then we have no choice. We must move.
To where?
London. There I'm sure will be an industrial growth where we'll both get work.
Maybe. But the entire countryside is migrating there. It'll be a pigsty in no time.
But we always have tomorrow.
Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away.
British people read the news from America daily, and many marveled at how many bright inventors there were. One particular one was Eli Whitney, who had invented the cotton gin. It was a marvelous device that had finally made cotton economical for southern states. They called it the Cotton Kingdom, with fluffy white fields that lined the land of the South. Many hoped that the cotton gin could fuel the popularity of cotton cloth in Britain. Many wished that their wages would increase, but they knew that the factory owners, politicians, and aristocrats would use the boom of raw cotton to their benefit. That is because everyone wanted to make a profit there, especially factory owners. For example, Josiah Wedgwood's concepts of division of labor aided the mass production of the China industry. Splitting up manufacturing into simple, repetitive tasks was one revolutionary idea. Richard Arkwright's water frame replaced the spinning jenny, which was an older model. The first cotton mills appeared soon after that. The normal factory worker was used only for the profit of the factory and had no money to even afford the products they helped manufacture. Factory owners and the middle class only found the new age of mechanization advantageous.
Scrubbing these bags, I don't know what I'm doing. La 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 la. Ooh, this is really hard work right here.
Are you even using the right tool?
No, sir. How about this?
Get back to work.
Come on, take a stroll with me. Let's go to the Crystal Palace. Did you know I met the person who made that greenhouse wonder?
That's nice, dear.
Yeah, he was one of my heroes. They have a nice iron infrastructure, too. Oh god, I love iron. I love how they use coke as the fuel to burn it and how they go through a puddling process to get rid of all the impurities. Raw iron is just so much cheaper to produce now.
Ooh, look at that ship. Isn't it lovely? And it flows so straight and smooth.
That's powered by a steam engine. Yeah, a lot of things run by steam engine nowadays because of James Watt's invention, or his improvement, I should say. Without him, they would just waste so much energy.
I am just so impressed at engineers these days. To think, we used to only use steam engines to pump the water out of mines. We have to be careful these days, though, because the fuel needed can produce a lot of smoke.
Oh, what happened to the days where people had to paddle across bodies of water? Or when we have to actually talk to people rather than use the electric telegraph with some language Samuel Morse wrote? All I hear from that machine is beep, 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 and it gets on my nerves. Also, machines are taking so much effort from human labor.
I like the times now. With your prominent position in the iron industry, you've been earning a higher paycheck. The mechanization helps produce more of what we love at a lower price, saving costs for the manufacturers and consumers. Speaking about costs, I saw a darling tea set in a shop window the other day. I wonder how much that china costs.
Considering we're moving up in the world, maybe it's time to invest in a new china set. Come, let's go get that, shall we?
Everything seems to be changing so much these days. New ideas are constantly overtaking the old ones. It's like a revolution, only industrial.
Exactly, an industrial revolution.
The impact of the Industrial Revolution was felt all around the world. The most changes were seen in Europe and the United States. Russia's Industrial Revolution took place sometime after the European Revolution because they didn't have much agriculture, so they didn't really need the new equipment, and they didn't have the money to buy it. China and Japan didn't even care about Europe and the Americas because they thought of them as barbarians. The responses to the Industrial Revolution were usually good. People wanted to have machines, but some people felt as though their jobs were being taken away.
Oh, look at this. And it's only 50 cents.
Can I help you with anything?
Yes, I want that hat, that dress, and these shoes.
Is that all?
Yes. Although I have a question for you. Why is everything so cheap?
Well, it's because of mass production and division of labor. That's what all the newest industries are using these days. Helps make things a lot cheaper for consumers and producers.
Wow.
Well, that'll be $5.
Okay.
Thank you.
The population spiked up because the birth rates went up and the death rates went down. But because people knew that their children were going to live, they stopped having so many children. Kids lived into adult life because medicine and the birthing process was improved. The new machinery helped produce more food for the people to eat. They had a well-rounded meal all year round because of electricity and refrigeration. But before there could be a surplus in food, there was much famine in the Hungry 40s when Europe lost much of its potato crops. Also, there was the problem of the Malthusian trap, which was Malthus's theory that the developments in the world will only cause more people to be born than the world can contain, and that the developments will not improve the standard of living for most people. And there were times when we did go through the theory, with famines and over-farming, but most of the people had a better life after the Industrial Revolution. Most people went from having nothing to owning businesses and having servants. The wife would not have to work, but the middle-class women also had a hard life because they took care of the house and their children, and they also had to worry about their place in society.
Look at this headline. Britain declares universal male suffrage. What should all the males get a vote? Imagine my Iron Man voting. It's preposterous.
But dear, the world around us is changing, and so are our values. Look at the new philosophies: laissez-faire, utilitarianism, positivism, and utopian socialism.
Yes, I know.
Daddy, what is laissez-faire?
Well, basically, honey, it's an idea brought by Adam Smith that means that you shouldn't really have the government go into industrial affairs.
Is that a good thing? And what are the other isms that Mommy was talking about?
Yes, it's a very good thing. Are you sure you want to know what she's talking about?
Yes, I want to be like you, a businessman. Or would I be a businesswoman?
There's no such thing.
Just let her drink her. So what are the isms?
Well, utilitarianism is where all your actions are needed in order to do good for what the people want. But positivism, I think it's pronounced, is where knowledge is only in scientific knowledge. And lastly, utopianism socialism is where everybody should have equal wealth and property.
The Industrial Revolution didn't just change England, but it changed the United States too. When the U.S. saw that Britain had industrialized, it had to industrialize too, so it wouldn't be behind Britain. Britain even helped fund some of the railroads in the United States. which became a popular way to travel and transport goods due to the train's high speed. The steam engine was also used in mining and shipping in both Britain and the United States. In mining, it would power an elevator-like machine that would take men and supplies down into the mine or up to the surface. Ships and trains used the steam engine as well. It helped transport goods at a faster rate, and it reduced the time in between
Cities
places.
changed
During the Industrial Revolution. Many people moved into cities because there were more jobs there, so the cities grew bigger, and some cities had to combine together because they were so close to each other. Some cities incorporated tenements to crowd people in. The cities were usually covered in smog because of all the smoke from the factories, and the rivers were usually black and unsanitary from the coal used in the steamships. The excess noise from the trains didn't help either. There were many diseases in the cities because of the close proximity that the people lived in, and because they didn't use much sanitation. When new cities were being built, they were built in grid-like plans, and there were cement roads, canals, and railroads built where the cities were, and they connected the cities together.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was thinking about it.
Watch it, peasant.
Listen, I don't need your sass at the moment. Just got back from work and now I have to take care of my children. Not that you would know anything about that.
Oh, please, quit your complaining. It doesn't even sound that hard to get money. All the money comes from my husband while I live in luxury. What's so hard about that?
That may sound very nice, but I can't do that. For starters, the job I have gives me zilch about 1/3 of the money that men get paid. The textile mills are so crowded that I had to sedate my baby so it wouldn't cry.
Well, why not work somewhere else? I mean, there are a few opportunities out there. Why not a factory or even mining?
You honestly think that much better? The Mines Act doesn't even let me or my young son to work in the mines, thank God. Oh wait, I forgot. I had to abandon him at his birth because I couldn't pay for him.
You think you're the only one that lost something? Do you think I like just staying at home knowing that I will almost never have influence on my country? The cult of domesticity limited me to being a housewife. You and I both know how hard that is to raise children. How dare you accuse me of being lazy?
At least your place is nice. My husband and I work our hands to the bone all day, only to end up in some crummy place that we can hardly afford for anyway.
Well, it just goes to show that my class has been the real beneficiaries of these changing times. I've had enough of your insolence. Good day.